everybody, thanks a lot for coming back to Free Run Speed. This is Dave Jewell, and we're going to continue the conversation about the Ironman World Championships and your shoe choice. I'm going to say this right up front. Don't let the shoe be the reason why you have a poor marathon experience in that race. Let's keep in mind the conditions in the race are dictating this conversation. You're going to be super hot the entire day. On that entire bike ride, you're going to be hot. Then you're going to get off and run a marathon in extreme heat. The ground temperature has been measured at 130 degrees. That's going to do things to your feet, and it's going to do things to your shoes. Your feet are going to swell. That's plain and simple. They're going to swell. And your shoes are going to get soft. The material that gets the softest is EVA. What the majority of running shoes are made of right now. That midsole, EVA, gets really soft when it gets hot. To mitigate all of that, you're going to dump water on your head. Not just because your feet are hot, but because your entire body is hot. You're going to dump water all the time, so your feet are going to be wet for the majority of the run. And that causes problems. The good thing is that there are new technologies out there in midsole construction that are resistant to heat, which means that what they feel like today and what they feel like in Kona will be relatively the same. And how they react today and how they react in Kona will be relatively the same. And that's a good thing. That's good for people racing in Kona. And that's what I'm going to talk about today, is what are those midsole constructions. There are basically three midsole constructions that work well in that race. The first two are a plastic-based foam. A number of years ago, BASF created TPU foam. It's now used in with Adidas Boost, with Saucony Everrun, with Brooks, and a few others. So that was the first one. This is my wife's Ultra Boost. It's over 2 years old. There's a hole in the bottom, there's a hole in the top, but she continues to run in it because the midsole is alive. That's what TPU foam does. It stays resilient and it works in all temperatures. So when it's really hot, it's still functioning like it's normal, and when it's cold, it still functions like it's normal. Nike has answered it this year with their React foam. We don't know the exact makeup of it, but the Epic React midsole works much like Boost midsole. It's soft, it's super resilient, and it's incredibly durable. That means it's going to be very heat resistant. The newest foam to come to market is Peaback. Peaback is used in the Vaporfly 4% from Nike. It's used in the Pegasus Turbo from Nike. It's also used in the Float Ride series from Reebok. Peaback is the most resilient material in a running shoe. There's a reason why the Vaporfly 4% is so popular. It's because that foam is so resilient. It is also very heat resistant, even more so than the TPU foam. So what you'll get today and what you will get in Kona is going to be the same. So check these midsoles out. The last bit of foam that works really well in Kona is injected EVA. An injected process is very different than the compression molded process. And for some reason, the injection process makes the midsole more resistant to the heat. There are two shoes that are very important in the injection process today. The first is the Saucony Kinvara. It's been known, it has been the biggest shoe in Kona for a number of years. So Saucony Kinvara, spot on, lightweight, does everything that you need for that race in Kona. There's a new shoe on the market, the Beacon. It's an injected midsole. Great upper in terms of fit and no seams on it, which is great for Kona. So now you've got two shoes to choose from on the injected side, Kinvara and the Beacon. In the last video, I talked about watching athletes fall off the platforms of their shoes. I'm going to talk about one specific shoe. It's an EVA-based shoe. It's ultra popular, the Hoka Ona Clifton. There's about 20% of you that wear that shoe that wear it because it functionally, it's good enough. When that midsole gets really soft, it becomes functionally not good enough. When it gets really soft, what you need functionally becomes really important. And it's you crashing down on the ball of your foot, crushing that midsole to the point of you almost falling off. I see it early in the race. That means that midsole's really warmed up. You need to pay attention. Wear your Hokas. Find a different Hoka. Use the Mach. The Mach is going to be a better shoe for you because it's a much firmer midsole. You know who you are. You're wearing a stability shoe on a regular basis, or maybe you used to. The Clifton works for you for right now, but it won't work for you in Kona. You're going to have a miserable run if you are crashing down on the ball of your foot, literally falling off the platform. The last caution I have is fit. Do not compromise on fit. If the shoe only kind of fits you, it's going to be a disaster in Kona. Make sure that shoe fits and works perfectly. You should be able to, ideally, when you go out for a run, you don't feel your shoes. If you are feeling something in your shoe, it's not the right shoe for Kona. Size up. Your foot's going to swell. Size up. Make sure you do that. New socks. All those things are going to make the shoes fit better. But make sure your shoes fit you perfectly. There's an old adage in triathlon. You swim and bike for show, you run for dough. I'm kind of having some fun with that right now because you will remember the entire race. You will remember the rough water swim. Maybe it's a calm day, but it's still going to be a swim in the ocean. You're going to remember the wind on the bike. They'll say it was the calmest Kona ever, but you'll say, man, it was still windy. But what you're really going to remember is that last 3 to 4 hours. That last 3 to 4 hours when you are making your way through that run course. Do not let your shoes be your downfall. Make sure you do everything to make sure you get comfort. Make sure you get a foam that's going to be very resilient to the heat. If you can find one of those shoes with the new plastic type foam and it fits really good, you're going to have a much better chance at having a good run. That's it for shoes in Kona. If you've got questions or comments, leave them. I'll answer as much as I can. I'm sure there will be other people that can answer them as well. If you like these videos, subscribe. Have a great training block, and I'll see you in Kona.